Say throw it at the end of
Okay.
this, but
Down at the end here, bud. Let's put
I'm
you,
caught.
make sure you're in that round key light.
Put on the side here. So, yeah, right here. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. She's gonna share that one.
are we all mic'd up and everything?
We're all mic'd up.
I think so.
What in the world is going on?
All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. As you know by now, it's Free for All Friday. My name is Danny Allen. This is my co-vescent co-host, Vanessa Cini. It's kind of an actor's studio, actor and film lounge here today.
Yeah, we're going to call this the Actor Studio.
Absolutely. So, introductions.
All right, we are here with one of our home team favorites.
Yes.
Joe Batesel is back in the studio with us. Thank you for joining us, Joe.
Thank you for inviting me.
Joe.
And we'll just go to you.
This is Rob Diamond. Sorry, he's a writer, producer, writer-director, producer, if you will, does it all for a number of films. I was at your festival down there in Provo. Thank you for coming on last minute. Appreciate that.
Thanks for having us.
And Matt Reese, executive producer, actor, pal. Yeah.
Pal.
You wore your good hat. Thank you.
I wore my really good hat.
No, thanks for coming on last minute. Appreciate it. That's awesome. So, cool.
So today we're talking about Peach Days coming up.
And Saltaire Film Festival. Exactly right. And Tears of a King is our feature presentation. And I got to tell you, it's really kind of interesting because you know this because you've seen my impression of Elvis Presley that I've done.
I have.
And years ago, when I was real handsome and everything, not like I am now, old, I did a wonderful impression of Elvis Presley. And when I went down to the LDS Film Festival, they were showing Tears of a King, and I fell in love with it because I just thought the storyline was absolutely incredible. And I think a lot of times Elvis Presley was given kind of a bad rap because he was a great Christian guy and he was very much of a benefactor type of individual. And this film really depicts that, and also his exposure to the LDS faith.
Now we have a trailer of Tears of a King, if we can show that right now.
Let's try it one more time. This time, we'll put a little more heart into it. Singing is about the soul. You gotta dig deep. What I need is someone that can communicate to the people.
Sam Phillips out of the Memphis Recording Studio says he ain't seen or heard nothing like you. He's gonna sign you to his new record label, Sun Records.
You're an interesting singer.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. But what do we have here? This is Priscilla, that girl I told you about.
Elvis Presley.
I love that name, Priscilla. Kind of rolls off the tongue like honey. Honey.
I just love hearing you sing. I love you so much. I don't think I could ever live without you.
Are you Elvis Presley the singer, or are you Elvis Presley the man?
I've been trying to figure that out my entire life. I'm not a little boy anymore. I'm a grown man. You think I'm a terrible person, don't you?
You are everything to me, son.
You can kiss your career goodbye.
Why don't you tell me who Elvis Presley is?
You're an American icon, a living legend.
On the outside, maybe. Not in here.
I'm leaving.
I can't believe what I'm hearing. I've made so many mistakes. Disappointed so many people. Just let me hold her one more time.
Honey.
That
Very
was
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Nice work. So what inspired you to do the film?
I wasn't an Elvis fan one way or another. He was like, apple pie and hot dogs and Americana. But one of my students took me down to the church archives and handed me a book soon into it and said, Elvis Presley read this. And I said, yeah, right. Well, I went through all his notes, and needless to say, it touched me very deeply. And so I just saw the film in my mind, and I wanted to make a story about more of his spiritual journey and his quest than more of the glitz and glamour. And then that's where I met Matt. Matt was the first one to come into it with me, and I ran it by him. He fell in love with it, and we just did it. You know, it's a very aggressive, tough film to make on that kind of budget. Oh, yeah, right. But you know, we put every dollar on the screen, and we were fortunate enough to find Matt Lewis out of Vegas, who headlines Legends in Concert. He, you know, USA Today called him the best Elvis impersonator in the world. Yeah. But what's so cool about him, he doesn't think he's Elvis when he's not acting. You know, he's a real normal, spiritual, good guy. And so I didn't want some guy that thought he was Elvis reincarnated.
No, that's it, because when I met him at the film festival, that's what was cool about him. Because some of those impersonator guys, when you're talking, they're still doing Elvis. When you're talking, it's like, okay, dude, shut it off for a second. But
now, speaking of the film festival,
right.
When is it? Give us some dates. We have a graphic, I think.
Well, we're on Saturday, September the 6th, and it's at Box Elder Middle School, which is in Brigham City, Utah. Right. And we're going to start registration about noon, and then we'll go out throughout the entire day. Tears of a King will play at the beginning, starting about 1 o'clock, and then it'll play again in the evening at 8 o'clock. So it'll be the opening show and the closing show.
Nice.
That's great.
Matt, you were in it, your experience with the film. You've done a lot of films. People recognize you from all kinds of stuff you've done here in Utah. What was it like hooking up with this guy who's taught and trained so many actors in Utah?
Well, when I was first exposed to Rob and he talked about this project, he said, I have an idea for a movie. He says, get this, Elvis was a Mormon.
I wanted to
like,
make
what?
Right.
It got my attention. Okay, what? But he started to tell me about this book, and during that same week, it was interesting because the gentleman I was working with, Mike Osmond, the son of Alan Osmond, he began to tell me about this Book of Mormon that Elvis owned that had been in his house the entire time he was growing up. It's since then been donated to the church, which is how it fell into Rob's hands. So 2 different ways I was hearing about the same exact experience with this book. It caught my attention. So I was like, okay, I need to pay attention to this. So my experience, I actually played a minor role in the film. The character's name is the Mysterious Man, which is why I've got the mysterious hat on now. So,
that was cool.
You're executive producer, you get to be in the movie. I like that.
Well, you know, I must add that there had been so much rumor about what Rob basically said about Elvis being a Mormon and all of that. And so when Alan came on and kind of gave a speech at one time and mentioned this, it kind of piqued everybody's curiosity. And so when I saw the film, I had heard about the Book of Mormon that supposedly Elvis Presley had written in and been in the church archives. And then I had talked to individuals that said they had handled it. And you know, I've worked on 5 months to try to get this film into our festival.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much
Glad
for
you're hooked
joining
up. Thanks
us.
for coming on, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
We'll have you back. It'll be good. All right.
Now here's coming up next week. On Monday, it's Back to School with Julie Hanks. She'll be exploring the back to school process from your child's point of view and bully proofing.
Bully proofing coming up. Denise will be showing us how to have a positive body image and how to love yourself. She'll also be discussing the seasons of a woman's body.
And then Kim will be in our Thermador kitchen creating delicious recipes for the end of summer next Wednesday.
Absolutely. So then it's at home with Maria Carr. I'm getting hurry. Maria Carr finds ways of exploring space and it being the final frontier as an astronaut stops by, a real astronaut in the studio. Deneen Ruggel, okay, is back with more tips on emergency preparation. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break.